Good morning. It's the beginning of September and I thought I would do a quick survey of what we are doing on our little suburban homestead as we move from late summer into fall. This is definitely harvest season, and I've put up here just a little sample of some of the things we have been harvesting. Here we have blue butterfly pea, which I've been growing as a natural food coloring. These are the purple hull peas that I've let dry on the vine. So I will save some of these for seeds. The fresh ones have been going in the freezer. I'm bringing in the very last of the summer melons. We had a bumper crop of cantaloupe and watermelon, but those vines have finally reached their end. So the cantaloupe we're mostly eating fresh, and then the watermelon, what we can't get through fresh, I'm putting in the freezer for watermelon sorbet. And then I'm also continuing my Japanese indigo harvest. I've been doing a lot of fresh leaf dyeing, which is what you can see here, but I'm probably about to bring that to a close so I can let the last flush of the crop grow for a bigger extraction. This is also a project that I'm pretty excited about. As we start to look towards winter, my husband brought home this little wood stove, and we thought about putting it in the basement where there is the vent work to use it, but since we already have a pretty big fireplace upstairs, I would really like to hook this up, well, not hook it up, but to create a space out here for it under the carport, which is kind of our outdoor living room. Obviously it needs more stovepipe and needs to get some rust off of it. But yeah, if you have any experience with these and any thoughts on how to use them outdoors, if we need some sort of thermal wall or how to do the stovepiping, I haven't really started doing research on that, so I would love your suggestions. So for the first decade of my adult life, I was an academic. I'd always lived on the school year calendar. My parents were in ministry to college students, and so September and August often are really hard for me because I really miss back to school. And I know that when my kids get a little bit older, that will be part of our family rhythm again, both with them as students and me teaching, whether at home or somewhere else. But this year I was reflecting on how one of the blessings of a garden is that it connects you to the rhythms that school year was based on. This time of change, of fresh beginnings, of kind of shaking your head after the heat of summer and looking around and realizing that there are cool breezes coming and things starting. So I'm really thankful as September begins to be connected into these rhythms that connect me to the place where I am, to what's growing out of the soil, to the larger rhythms of the church calendar and other calendars that have grown up intertwined with that. So what you saw in that very quick tour of the garden obviously was that a lot of things are still growing strong. Our tomatoes, our tulsi, sweet potatoes obviously are doing great. Our peppers are still bearing a lot, but also that there are some areas that we're clearing out. So our butternut squash and our pumpkins gave us a good crop, but finally succumbed to that awful squash vine borer despite all my diligence. So we've pulled out all the squash vines. You're okay, love. We've pulled out all the squash vines and are putting in our cabbages. We've got carrots sprouting, a bunch of calendula and chamomile that I've put in. So it's really an exciting time in the garden. The average frost here is like middle of November, so we still have a good while. What are you growing in your gardens right now? This is another September project. This is about 2 kilograms of Japanese indigo stems and leaves, and I'm fermenting them here so that I can extract the pigment. If you're interested in seeing what that process looks like, I have a little short that gives an overview, and I'll try to link that below. One of the last things that I'm doing is trying to start something I've wanted to do for a while, which is to bring in beautiful decorations from our land and garden. Because we moved in April, but with 2 toddlers, I feel like it's taken a long time to actually get settled. But I decided that I have waited long enough to put up pictures and beautiful things in some of the spaces that are ready for them. And so that's one of the other things I'm doing here in September as ordinary time starts to look towards Advent. One of the last things that I like to do in September, and I actually usually do this a little bit earlier is to prepare some Hawthorn Cordial for my husband. Love Hawthorn, love that it's just this wonderful food safe way to strengthen the heart. So I have in here about 125 grams of hawthorn berries with some spices, soaking in a liter of an inexpensive brandy. And I'm really excited this year because I get to add some of my own homegrown elderberries. This was my entire harvest off my one little bush, but it was frankly more than I expected. So I was gonna toss them in some elderberry syrup when I bought more dried elderberries, but I think, I don't know, I love the idea of just putting it in here in this yearly cordial that I make that just tastes like all the sweetness and spiciness of fall. If you're interested in the recipe for this or in a video where I show how I make this after this is going to soak for 4 to 6 weeks and then I'll make it into the cordial, let me know in the comments and I could make a video just about that.